Stan Winston studio dinosaur team also, and I worked within the mold department and the art department at Stan's during the Jurassic Park period. Here's some of the first tests of the tail moving with the skin on it.
When we were developing the core technology on this, everyone has traditionally been using rings to try and create cores that moved in sequentially, and we realized that it's going to be really hard to organize all those and make them all work. And while I was working on the Raptor, I came up with this idea of just cutting in a continuous spiral so that it could expand and contract, but never lose its shape. It wouldn't just fall apart with 40 different rings on it. They would all stay integrated to itself. So that's actually me up there trying to pull the skin on. So the tail and the neck for both the Raptors and the T-Rex were done as a spiral and then reinforced so that they didn't become too weak. But that way we could keep the shape and the look of everything very continuously. The trick with these skins is that it's a cone. It's a perfect cone, and every time you moved it, it just kept wanting to slide off and get looser and looser on it. So we had to pull them up and then sew them and stitch them and glue them to the hips and to the shoulders so that they didn't want to work themselves off.
Part of the issues with it as well was that with all the cylinders and the hydraulics in there, that trying to make sure that as we were moving things that we weren't that the core wasn't stripping any of the hydraulic tubes or the potentiometers that would then cause it to freak out.
Yeah, because Tony made everything out of vacuum bag carbon fiber. And we didn't have the advantage of complete 3D modeling back then, so a lot of this was done as guesswork as to what would fit. So what looked good from the front and from the side suddenly didn't fit from the top, so that we had to make adjustments every step of the way. Here's the crew pulling on the skin over the neck.
Yeah, you saw back there on the tail, and it happened on the neck area too. Is that foam actually shrinks quite a lot when you have that much foam, but it shrinks anyway. But on this, it shrank quite considerably. We'd have to put in like 2 or 3 foot sections of skin back into the basically resculpting areas with these patches.
Tremendously heavy. These skins were 2 inches thick in a lot of places, because we wanted to make sure that they didn't give away the mechanisms inside. And that's kind of the wonder of the fabrication and the coring of it, is that inside you've got hard mechanical moves. On the outside it needed to look like smooth, organic, realistic movement. So a thicker skin always helps with that. But as we learned later on, a thicker skin takes on more water, it shrinks more, and it's just heavier. So with the hydraulics, it wasn't much an issue, but they finely tuned these dinosaurs to what the dry weight was, and then like the T-Rex, which wasn't supposed to get wet, it took on a lot of water. And as you can see, what everyone's doing here is they're taking the T-Rex through its paces, so we would have to see how far it would stretch. So we'd move the head all the way up to its foremost position, and you can see that then that skin needed to stretch 3-4 feet in some places. And then, when it bends down, it had to not bunch up and crinkle in unrealistic ways. So finding a perfect amount of tension and stress on the skin that wouldn't tear itself apart, but that would still look organic was tricky on something of this scale.
We ended up having to find the different types of nettings for use with the T-Rex than we had done in other movies, just because of the amount of stretch that it needed to go through and the durability of the fabric. So it was actually quite a loose weave of netting, as I recall, but it was just tricky trying to find the correct amount of fabric to put in there as well as the foam.
Yeah, everything was so big, you couldn't risk running it 3 and 4 times. It was gallons and gallons and gallons of foam, so you only had 1 or 2 shots at it. But it's a testament to the artistry too, is to, take this amazing sculpture and then cut, 3 1-foot sections out of the middle of it, and then have to refabricate it out of foam latex and patch it back in and make the lines work and the wrinkles work, make everything flow again, even though you've cut a big piece out and it's shrunk. Make it all look good again.